So I just want to give a couple of more minutes, maybe one or two, and then we'll get started. Thank you, guys. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Happy New Year and welcome to Church Farm School's virtual open house. My name is Marvin Garcia. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions and a proud alum of our school. I, along with my colleagues, our students, parents, and alumni, are excited to host you this morning. We will provide you with a glimpse of what makes Church Farm School unique and how it can unlock your son's potential. You will hear about our rigorous college prep program, our athletic philosophy and offerings, and our wonderful community of students, faculty, and staff. Please remember, if you have questions, to post them on our chat, and we will provide answers to you throughout the program. First, let me introduce to you our head of school, the Reverend Edmund Sherrill.
And good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year. Happy 2021. Did we ever think we were going to get through 2020? But it's great to be together this morning on a very exciting morning for us. Welcome new families and potential new students into dialogue with us about your future. You're telling us a great deal about yourselves already by joining us this morning, when you could be doing other things, but you're concerned about yourself. You're concerned about your education. You're concerned about the community where you want to lay your head now and into the future. And we're excited to be part of that picture, of that possibility, because we're excited about who we are and what we have to offer as a school community. Community that really seeks a lot of things, primarily to be our very best, to pursue those things that matter, seeking not to be perfect, but to be excellent in many things that we're just discovering about ourselves. I want to share a little bit about our school, and particularly what's in its name. We have three words that compose who we are, our identity: church, farm, and school. School is pretty self-evident, and a lot more of our panelists this morning, as well as our students, will speak to that and speak to the full vibrancy of that. Farm is a little trickier. It speaks to our heritage, speaks to, though, really the industry of what it means to be committed to good work, to hard work, not just labor in a field, but planning, a vision of what seeds can become, and harvesting, about really sort of taking pride in the product of what it is that has grown around us. We know that God gives the growth. And this is part of our identity as a church school founded in the Episcopal tradition. And I want to say just a few words about that. And I want to say a few words about that in the context of where we are as a nation and as a planet, as the human family on our good earth. This past year has been one that has been full of challenges. And as much as the pandemic has challenged us, it has also exposed to us our frailty as human beings, our shortcomings when it comes to being in good and rich dialogue with one another. And this is at the heart of our faith tradition, not to insist on any particular way, but to insist on one another and our capacity to love one another. The Episcopal Church sits in the Christian tradition, but in the Protestant side of that, and in the Anglican side of that, that's the Church of England, out of which the United States was born, and into which we have lived for over 200 plus years. Events in Washington, D.C. of this past week have certainly been on our minds, but they didn't come from nowhere. They've come from discourse, division, and sometimes misleading discourse. And we want to rectify that primarily by becoming better citizens. And we trust that our capacity to hold on to core values of respect, responsibility, integrity, and brotherhood, our word for community, are those values that will make the difference as we continue to unfold this democratic experiment that is the United States of America. I'm hopeful and excited about this coming year, not just because there's a vaccine, but because our community and our student body primarily is engaged in a rich and wonderful dialogue of what it means to be human, that Black lives matter, that the educational program of Church Farm School and its diversity can offer a range of ideas and opinions that help us be our very best. We value a courage, candor, and honesty while identifying and separating ourselves from false information, deception, and harmful rhetoric that can incite and destroy. We value thoughtful and reasoned inquiry. You don't check your head at the door here, but we ask questions. And we ask questions of God, knowing that God asks questions of us. Who are you as a child of this creation? Because we want to intentionally seek new ideas and experience in a God-given world that is teeming with difference so that diversity may increase and divisions will crumble. We seek informed, diverse, and divergent opinions. We know that we can learn from those who differ most from us. And that in so doing, we also will condemn violence and destruction that gets in the way of that discourse. We value freedom and responsible respect for order that holds us appropriately yet compassionately and justly accountable for our ideas and actions, and being of courage to hold each other accountable too. And we do this out of some humility and service to a greater good, not to lose, but to find ourselves as part of a diverse and wonderful human family across history and across our several generations. Other schools are very similar to Church Farm School. We all have curricula, we all have wonderful programs, but I think what sets us apart is this rich and wonderful diversity of a student body, of a faculty and administration, and even governance at the board level that continues to seek our very best in this rich and exciting dialogue. I think that is at the heart of our Episcopal identity. We are a Christian school not seeking to make a lot of Christians, if that is really a direction as to where one really wants to go. Those are names and important for households of faith, and we are committed to that. I certainly am as an Episcopal minister. But I would like every student, every member of our faculty and staff to be their very best. And I know that there are a range of religious traditions, or none at all, but to be our best and to be talking out of the context of a love for one another, out of a love of our neighbor as we would want to be loved, that is at the root of free inquiry and at the root of the multi-talents that so many of us bear. And thank God for that, for that enriches our lives by the production of the resources that we need to live that life, but also for the values of care and justice by which we can distribute those resources more equitably across the globe. We need you and your best efforts to help us do that. And that is the center of our prayer. Again, welcome to Church Farm School. Welcome to the new year. I'm hopeful of a vaccine and that it will produce a greater means for us to return to what we do best in a residential setting, living, working, learning, and growing together. Thank you for being part of today, and we really look forward to your being part of our future. I'm excited about that and look forward to meeting you someday very soon. So without further ado, let me turn the presentation over to Mr. Chris Seeley, who is our Assistant Head of School and Director of Academics, to help unfold the wonder of Church Farm School a little bit more for you.
Thank you, Mr. Sherrill, and good morning, everyone. It's so great to see you this morning and for you to be with us. We're glad that you've chosen to spend your morning learning more about Church Farm School, and we hope to be able to answer all the questions that you have to satisfy all of your curiosities, and most importantly, to help you understand the ways in which Church Farm School for students and for families can be the next best 4 years or 3 years of your journey, of your experience. As Mr. Sherrill said, there's coherence in the name of the school, Church, Farm, and School. And while school comes last, I think of it first because I am not only the assistant head of school, but also the director of academics. But all three elements of our name are important. Mr. Sherrill spoke about some of that, but the focus on church is not necessarily doctrinal, but it really is about inquiry and about understanding one's journey, whether it's a faith journey or an intellectual journey. The journey that we're all on individually and collectively matters a great deal. The farm represents hard work. Students here often will say to me, "Oh, Mr. Seeley, this is hard. School is hard." And my response is, well, you're welcome. It's supposed to be hard. We don't shy away from challenge. We don't shy away from the fact that hard work is important because that's where we learn. That's how we grow. That's how we stretch ourselves through engaging in hard work and not shying away from that. But we also recognize that engaging in hard work together means that we're able to support one another in that growth and in that journey. And in so doing, we can yield the bounty that is the result of that hard work and that diligent effort. And the last, of course, is scholarship in our name of school. We are a school first and foremost. We are dedicated to scholarship. We are dedicated to intellectual inquiry, to growth, not just of our students, but the adult community as well. Because we recognize that we grow together, we learn from one another, we are dependent upon one another for our success, and we strengthen each other in our struggles and in our challenges, because those are part of the journey as well. And we recognize that there's so much that happens in this school community, as a residential school community. We live together, we work together, we go to chapel together, we eat together, we play together, we do so many things together. And it's in that togetherness, in that common bond, in that common endeavor that we realize our strength. And that's really what we're about as Church Farm School. We are about community. We are about supporting one another. We are about challenging one another to be our very best. And we recognize that everyone has responsibility for the journey that we're all on, and that everyone is going to engage in this together. And so I think one of the great things about Church Farm School is that we're a small school where we get to know each other incredibly well. There is no back of the classroom at Church Farm School. There is no space where people can hide, where people can be unseen. But most importantly, there is no space where students or adults can remain unknown to one another. This is a place where we're dedicated to knowing one another, to learning about who we are in our differences and our commonalities. And we use those to move ourselves forward in ways that are compelling and meaningful. I want to share with you a bit about who I need Ms. Young, if I can share my screen, please. I want to share with you the profile of a CFS graduate. At the end of the day, there's so many things that we try to do to ensure that our students are able to not just make their way successfully through Church Farm School, but they're also able to move forward into the world beyond in ways that demonstrate their strength, their knowledge, their ability, and their confidence in all that they can do. And we have the statement of who our graduates are, which I'm sharing with you now. And Church Farm School graduates are curious and passionate learners. They're compelling communicators. They're healthy in body, mind, and spirit. They are persistent in the pursuit of excellence. They're ethical agents of the common good, and they're committed to global responsibility. These, we think, are those enduring habits that serve our students well, not just as they develop them here at school, but as they move into the world beyond this place. Our purpose isn't just to have students make their way successfully through 4 years of high school. We are a college preparatory school, but beyond that, beyond preparing students for success in college, we prepare our students for success in life beyond. And that happens in the academic realm, but it certainly happens across all areas of school. I could talk to you about the courses that students take. In fact, they're not dissimilar from the courses that students would take at many other schools, locally or across the country. Of course, students take courses in English and math and sciences and language and history and the arts and beyond, not just going through our core curriculum, but also delving into those areas of particular interest so that they can pursue their passion and hone their talents and their inclinations. And I will say, develop new ones along the way. But beyond that, what we're really trying to do is to help students develop these habits that are going to serve them well. So yes, the courses matter. And we have students who are engaged in courses. It's sort of in our normal program that everyone takes, and we have honors and AP courses and advanced courses as well, according to students' ability, according to their history and their performance, and according to their inclinations. But most importantly are these enduring habits and the skills that students develop along the way. I think those are the things that really set Church Farm School apart. Of course, many schools will talk about the ways in which they develop similar skills within their students, but for us, this profile really identifies what our students are able to do and who they are, not just here on campus, as I said, but also in the world. The life of a boarding school is one that is intentionally set apart from the rest of the world. And as Mr. Sherrill said, there's a lot that we know that's swirling around us, but we also know that we are part of all of that swirl as well. We have the ability, I would say the privilege, of being able to step back from some of the swirl of the world in order to reflect on who we are, to develop these skills that I've talked about, to study intently, to work together, to strive together, to become more confident so that we can engage with the world and not see ourselves as set apart entirely and distant and isolated, but we recognize and we want our students to understand that they are part of the world that is out there, and this is their preparation for full engagement in that world, and I would dare say leadership of that world as well. So that really is the essence of the Church Farm School way. It is the essence of our education. It is all that we try to do day in and day out in the classroom, in dorms, on teams, in studios, in every way imaginable. These are the things that Church Farm School is about. And I'm excited about sharing that with you. I'm excited about the work that we have ahead in this year, as challenging as it has been. But we've found new ways of doing things, learning remotely, learning in hybrid settings, learning both at school and at home, and working at school and at home as colleagues as well. And as the year continues, we look forward to doing more of that together, to enduring, to soldiering on, but most importantly, engaging in this hard work, which is also fun. I have to say that if there's no joy in the hard work, if there's no joy in education, one might wonder what it really is worth after all. And we're not ashamed to say that fun has to be part of this process. We want to have fun. We enjoy challenge, we enjoy success, we enjoy one another, and we recognize that there is joy in learning, and that is all that we're committed to. So I'm going to stop here for now. You're going to hear from me a little bit later, and we'll speak with some students who will be able to demonstrate some of what I'm talking about, the ways in which we learn, we struggle, we research, we analyze, and we engage with the world in real and important ways. But I'm going to turn things over to Ms. Scott. Ms. Tiffany Scott is our Director of College Counseling. She will give you a view of more of what I've talked about, sort of the end result of that process of engaging in school and how it is that we send our students off to their next endeavors. Ms. Scott.
All right, thank you so much, Chris. I'm happy to be here this morning, and I'm really excited to talk to you about college guidance. College guidance is something I'm super passionate about, and something that is really close to my heart because I absolutely feel that going to Church Farm School prepares you phenomenally well for college. And so I've had the pleasure of working at Church Farm School for 6 years, and working with these young men, getting them to their next level is such a pleasure for me because I really get to see the growth of our students from the time they start at Church Farm School all the way until they enter college. So I'd like to thank you first for listening to my presentation about how we go about the college process at Church Farm School. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right, so the Church Farm School, our college guidance office, I'm the director. So primarily what we do, especially in the fall, is that we host dozens of colleges and universities that will come and visit with our students. And so the philosophy in our college office is that we're trying to find the right fit for each student. So that's the right academic fit, social fit, and financial fit for our students. And so there's not one school that's going to fit all of our students. And so students get individualized attention to help prepare them for what's next and to figure out what schools will be best for them as they go off to college, whether that's a small liberal arts school, a large state school, something in between. We really want our students to be aware of all of the opportunities that are available to them. And so this year, even in the virtual environment, we had over 65 different colleges and universities come and meet with our students so that they get to learn more about what those colleges and universities have to offer. And so for us, you know, each student has that one-on-one attention. I could probably tell you the list of each student in the graduating class of where they've applied, the students who are still struggling to submit their applications, because we are really working hands-on with students in the college process. Starting in their junior year, they start to meet in small groups, and we have college planning classes that just go through the entire college process, helping students with their applications, figuring out what types of schools might be good fits for them, going over their applications, and really helping them sort through what might be the best plan for them as they go forth in the college process their senior year. We also do SAT prep and support for our students during the junior year. We think it's really important for our students to have as much access as possible to that test preparation. And so our students, we have an outside company come in at no additional cost, and our students participate in SAT prep to prepare them for the SAT. And we encourage our students to take that SAT exam at the end of junior year and at the beginning of senior year. We also host a class for seniors as they are leaving Church Farm School. That's called the College Transition Course. And the College Transition Course is basically a class that helps students figure out what's next for them once they've decided where they're going to school or where they think they might be going to school. So for example, college is really a different place than high school. And so the resources and things that you might need to use or have access to, you may not even know they exist or why they exist. And so we talk to our students about, you know, what is it like to transition to a larger institution? You know, where do I go? Where would I go find help if I needed help with, you know, academics? Or, you know, what's a teaching assistant? Why would I need that while I was in college? You know, why would I use the career services office? What could they be helping me with other than just finding a job once I finished college? You know, what's undergraduate research? What should I be, why should I participate in that? Why is that important to me? You know, what's a bursar's office? What's a registrar's office? All these things that they may not be familiar with. Even the social things, you know, what's Greek life? You know, is it something that I should participate in? All those topics are discussed and more in that college transition course to make sure that our students are fully prepared for what's next for them in their education. And then finally, we have the Alumni Success Program. The Alumni Success Program was started in earnest in 2016. And the reason for that program was the reason why we created that program is that we want our students to be successful in college. For us, it is not enough for us to just say, hey, you graduated Church Farm School and now you've gone to college. Good luck, have a great life. For us, we want our students to be successful at the next level. And so what we do is we follow them through college. We make sure we check up on them once a semester to see how things are going, whether that's a text message, whether that's a Zoom call. When we were pre-COVID, we were going to campuses all over the Northeast, visiting our students when we could, and making sure we connected with them and saw them face to face on their campus to talk to them about things that were happening with them, what they liked about college, how well they were prepared for school. We did a Zoom this year with the class of 2020, and they talked about, despite the pandemic and things looking different in college, that they knew that they were so much more prepared for college than their peers. And so we are really fortunate that we have great relationships with our students that expand past graduation. And so we encourage our students to stay connected with us. They do so very often. They keep in contact with their advisors. They keep in contact with me. We have a alumni success program coordinator who follows up with them as well. And so we really want to make sure our students are successful at the collegiate level, and that if they're having any problems, that we're here to support them and guide them through those things as well. We encourage them to come back during normal times. We host a basketball game in January. Usually that's over their holiday break. And it's a really great time for recent graduates to get together and really get to connect and really catch up on things and see how folks are doing. You'll see on the lower right-hand corner, kind of like this picture of names of colleges and universities. And so this is just a sampling of schools over the last 5 years where students have decided to attend for college. You can see this picture as well, the class of 2020, and you can see that there are a wide variety of schools that are our students have decided to apply to, get accepted to, and attend. So this picture shows all of the colleges, well, most of them, where students were accepted into school. And so you'll see there's lots of geographic diversity. You have schools, in the Midwest, the South, and Canada. And so there's no one right fit school for any one student. So again, we really encourage our students to find the right fit for them. And our students go to a wide variety of schools because our students are super diverse in terms of what it is they would like to study and what it is that they are looking for from their college experience as well. Another couple of highlights from the College Guidance Office. We also help our students in terms of finding summer employment, summer programs, internships, because we know that the classroom is a great place to learn, but it's also very important for our students to have access to learning experiences outside of the classroom. And so starting when they come back in February, we'll be meeting with them one-on-one to discuss programs that they can be a part of, whether that's learning a computer coding program, or whether that's attending college classes, or whether that's gaining employment. How do I find it? How do I get my resume together? What are some places I can work at? How do I make myself a more attractive candidate? Should I be doing some type of SAT prep, during the summer as well? Should I be volunteering somewhere? So all of these things, we're having intentional and thoughtful conversations. We keep a database of information about programs that our students have participated in the past, and other programs that have shared information with us that are looking for bright students like our own to participate in their programs during the summer. So it's really, really important for us to make sure our students have a well-rounded experience that extends past the classroom as well. And coming up next, we have a alum of Church Farm School and also a alum of the University of Pennsylvania, Edward Kim. Edward Kim, I remember when I first came to Church Farm School, he was so mature that I actually thought he was one of the teachers, but he was just a junior in high school at that time. But his maturity, his grace were just phenomenal while he was here. And I will never forget this moment. He shared with me, it was 3:00 on a Friday afternoon in the fall of 2015, I believe, or 2016. And he earned his acceptance to the University of Pennsylvania. And I just remember us both crying in my office, just knowing what a life-changing moment that was for him. And so being able to share that with him and so many other students has really been a pleasure and a joy being at Church Farm School. So, Edward Kim.
Hi, my name is Edward Kim, and I'm a part of the class of 2016. I recently graduated from the University of Pennsylvania, and now, in the midst of COVID, work as a freelance web developer and aspiring architect. You may have seen a few of my projects around campus, namely with the campus map, or with the music programs for the Evening of Music series in the chapel, or with the campaign newsletter that was sent out a few months ago. I do a few graphic design projects for the school as a way to stay involved, but also as a way to give back to the community. It's difficult to portray in a few words the impact the farm has had on my growth in education, and maybe I'm just afraid that I'll sound like I'm repeating the same points as the brochures. But there's one thing I can say with confidence that is probably not on the brochure, and it's that my mother would definitely agree that the farm has played a pivotal role in shaping me to become who I am today. Without a doubt, CFS granted me an education that eliminated barriers, an education that allowed me to succeed through opportunities I would have never had should I have gone to my local high school. And I'm not referring to just smaller class sizes or receiving a school-issued laptop. Those are all great. But I'm talking about the people. It's very, very hard to find an environment where you receive the same amount of attention and focus as a student as the farm. Everyone knows everyone, be it the students, the teachers, or even the staff members. And there's a strong bond and interaction between all of us because we're all trying to lift each other up to succeed. The support I received from Mrs. Scott when applying to colleges, from Mrs. Claypool when I wanted to start a new club, from the countless math teachers I needed to ask for extra help. There was never a moment I felt as though I was going through something alone. And this extends beyond graduation. The huge alumni network at your disposal, as well as the support that I received from Mr. Sherrill when I was looking for jobs in the architecture field. This sense of community, it's tight-knit, it's like a family, and that family lasts a lifetime. Now, parents, you might be concerned about college admissions, and that might be the number one thing that you're worried about. And let me tell you, having a college guidance counselor like Mrs. Scott is a godsend. Those college admissions numbers don't lie. And also the fact that I got into Penn, Mrs. Scott guided me through that whole journey, and I thank her so much for it. When I was a student at CFS as a student ambassador, one of the talking points I remember always reciting was how I learned how to do my laundry or how to be independent. And those are valuable skills and something that most high schoolers probably don't even know how to do. But when I entered college, I realized that the school had prepared me for so much more. How to think for myself, how to analyze and solve problems, how to work with teams and be an effective leader or team member. The farm gave me the foundation to be a better learner, to be more inquisitive, preparing me to succeed as a student by giving me the qualities and skills that I would need to thrive in my future. And this isn't just educational qualities or skills, but also life skills that are valuable when you're making decisions for yourself or need to figure out how to solve problems. One of the qualities that I really want to highlight is drive. What you make of your time at the farm, or anywhere else for that matter, really comes down to being self-driven and self-motivated to succeed. I believe that the farm taught me to be driven, giving me a ton of opportunities to set goals for improvement, be it in the sports field, in the classroom, or in becoming a leader for the community. My experiences at CFS showed me how to grow into these positions and how to be self-motivated, and that's a skill I've carried with me ever since. My time at CFS positioned me to be better prepared for college, without a doubt, but it also prepared me to be better prepared for life beyond education. And for the students listening, I think it will for you too. If you think of your high school experience as the stepping stone, as the beginning of a transition toward adulthood, then I really can't think of any other place than the farm to best prepare you for that journey.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Chet Blair. I am the Director of Student Life. This is my second year serving at Church Farm School. We are going to have a parent panel. I'm going to introduce a group of parents, Miss Evelyn Mello, who's the mother of Connor Hirsch Jr., Mr. Yesal Mehe, the father of two students, Sadiq, class of 23, and Selwyn, class of 24. So we're going to start off. Why Church Farm School for your sons? Miss Evelyn Mallow, can you answer that question, please?
Yes, thank you for having me. When we first visited the campus, what struck us the most was that it was very warm and welcoming. It's a very small community. The student body is a very small student body. But with having said that, the school, even though it's small, it offers a lot of opportunities for the students, as well as the larger schools. So parents might be concerned because they have boys as far as the sports program. They have a very competitive sports program. They have a very rigorous academic program. So you get the best of both worlds. You get the small, welcoming community, and then you get what is offered by other big schools, but it's not as far as the student body. It's a smaller, more warmer family. And people thought I was crazy because, or my husband and I, they thought we were crazy because he's our only child and we sent him off to a boarding school. But it's that brotherhood. They are a very close-knit. Last year, he's a leap year baby. So he has a birthday once every 4 years. And the dorm was just amazing as far as helping me decorate, to surprise my son. It was just very warm and it touched our heart. So we have a special place in our heart for Church Farm School because it is very warm and welcoming, but it is also very competitive in sports and rigorous in academics. So you get the best of both worlds. So, and he's also in choir. Who would have thought that? So we've traveled to various places to see the choir sing. The church there at Church Farm School is beautiful. The campus is beautiful. So there's many opportunities, even though it's a very small student body. So don't let that fool you.
Thank you. Mr. Almahe, will you want to add on to that?
Yeah. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So thank you for allowing me to share. Yes, my two sons, Sadiq and Saladin, are there. One's a freshman, one's a sophomore. And I guess the independent school journey started for us with our daughters. They went to an independent school. We liked of course, the rigor, the education, opportunities that they build for themselves in the future. And, the way I operate, I said, hey, if that door is open, that's where everybody's going, And then a friend of mine said, well, for your sons, why don't you look at Church Farm? And I knew of the school, but it just wasn't on my radar because my girls went there. We were already there. That's where they were going. But I said, you know what? Let me take a look. So I did. And it was a really, really great fit for my first son, Sadiq. He didn't really want to go where his sisters went. He wanted to carve his own path, which didn't dawn on me. I'm the parent. You do what I say, right? But he visited. He loved it, and of course there was some hesitancy, like first time away from home or what have you. But in our household, it was almost the expectation, like this is going to be the journey. Right? We didn't know how it was going to look, but this was going to be the journey. Yes, family members thought we were crazy. My sister, which she's not on this open house, she was on the last one. Leading up to this all these years, she was like, I still can't believe you sent your girls away and you sent, now you're thinking about your sons. But she has her one son and I'm like, this is the place. So, but no, I really, deep down for me, it's like, I want them to have the experience of, like Evelyn said, the brotherhood, right? You be able to form bonds that can last a lifetime. I want them to be able to experience that now. I often tell both of them, I say, imagine how powerful you can be in the next 10, 15 years. And what I mean by that is, if you apply yourself and you keep the strong connections that you're building now, and some of your peers may go to college with you, some may go to different schools, but if you keep that same bond, when you hit the professional world, imagine the impact you can come back and have on Church Farm, right? That's what I mean by how powerful they can become. So I constantly feed that to them, and hopefully they get it. But my older son Sadiq, he got a chance to fully immerse himself in the CFS community because before COVID hit, he got a chance to participate in golf, which he's never done before. He was on the thirds team and showed some promise and made the JV team, and then he actually played his first match and won it. So that was a great experience for him. Both of the boys are tennis players, so CFS has a tennis program. They're able to participate in that. Unfortunately, that season was canceled due to COVID. And I also nudged him to play basketball. So he's never really played organized basketball or anything like that. And so he finally got a chance to do that, which again, he's playing against guys that played all their lives. So it brought out feelings for him of, oh man, I'm really not good enough on the tennis court. That's his element. But in basketball, he's like, I don't know, I'm not that good. But it helps see experience winning as a team, losing as a team, and practicing hard, right? Which are skills they're going to need for the rest of their life. My younger son, Saladin, didn't get the fully immersive experience just yet because we had limited participation on campus. We made sure the protocols were intact to make sure every student was safe that decided to return. So if that's a concern for your family members, trust me, have the right protocol in place. It is a big decision, but we decided, we say, look, if this goes on for another 5 years, you can't stay in the house, right? We're going to have to learn how to navigate through this. So it's best if you go, be serious about the protocols that are put in place, and you still have an opportunity to remain connected and form connections with your classmates. Okay, so that is my take on it. Any other questions, please feel free to ask. But again, I just try to instill in them the future, the impact that they can have on CFS by giving back, applying themselves, doing what they're supposed to do, and then bringing that back.
Thank you, Mr. Almay. I have another question for you. You have two boys, different learners, different strengths, likes, dislikes, and yet you brought them both at the same school. How does Church Farm support both of your boys as different individuals?
Yes. So first of all, I'll say this. Ned got on. He shared the background of the school. Very different from our background. We're a Muslim family, right? So other family members might say, "What the heck are you doing?" But again, it's not. The school isn't. It's not about your choice or your belief, right? It's about understanding. So the way the school supports our sons is they realize that. But again, my boys are two different learners. Sadiq is more, I would say, Sadiq would more go off of, there's inspiration, there's motivation. Sadiq has to be motivated, right? So he has to have the external stimulus. So he needs the bonding of his friends and interaction with the teachers so that he can, bring the best out of him. Saladin is more, I would say, on the inspirational side, where he's self-motivated. He can get up when he's supposed to get up, even in homeschool. He's very get up, get to the computer, do the work, shut the computer down, and enjoy his day. Right? So the way the school supports that is, I've seen on many occasions where before I reached out, the school would say, "Hey, this is what we noticed. What do you think here? Can we have a conversation, or can we just have a conversation with him?" And then you sit on the sidelines and see the response, and we all convene. For Saladin, again, he's more of the self motivator. Sadiq needs a lot of the external motivation, but the school is there with their checks and balances to make sure every single student I mean, you heard this phrase before, no one left behind, right? They're making sure that no one gets left behind because this is a very, very challenging educational environment. But we've had conversations, we've had meetings just to make sure that not only my boys, but all students are, getting what they should out of the educational process and remaining on track.
All right, thank you. So you had a very interactive experience. It's not like drop your kids off and go. It's a conversation, it's a relationship between the school and your entire family. So
yeah, I really think that the boys would prefer me just leave them alone, and not be so engaged. But no, it's a very interactive relationship with the family and the school.
all right, so Ms. Malo, you're in New York, and your only boy is in Pennsylvania. And so can you speak to the conversations you have with both Connor and the school? Do you miss your son a lot? Because I know there's some families on here who might be questioning, should I send my son away? How is your relationship with your son and your relationship with the school, being that you're from New York?
Okay, so again, repeating, he's the only child, and people do think you're crazy to send your only child away to school. But I think if I could just speak to parents for a moment, even though we know best, or we think a lot of times we do, because we do, hey, we're parents, you have to listen to your child. And if your child wants to go away, which Connor did, you have to take that into consideration and listen to them. And then that's when you go to the schools and look. So that was the conversation we had. If you really want to go, fine. I mean, what's to be afraid of? It's a school with 2.5 hours away. So you can still communicate, and the guidance counselors, the dorm parent, teachers, I mean, they're just a phone call away. Your son's just a phone call away. So it's and it's so funny because the day will go by and then you're like, oh, wait a minute. We haven't heard from Connor yet today. So you'll be surprised how fast, not that you don't miss them, but you're okay with it. You're at peace with it. It's good. They're growing. It's a good thing for them to be away from you. So don't be afraid. And if they want to go away to school, so be it. It's listen to your child as well when they're talking to you about what school they want to go to. So that was the conversation we had. Just listen, and then go to the schools and keep that in mind. How far, the community, the warmth, besides all the academics, but you have to get that warm feeling from the school, which we did with Church Farm. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, last question for the both of you, and either one jump in. Church Farm's core values are respect, responsibility, integrity, and brotherhood. If you had to choose one of our core values that you see either in the school on a consistent basis or in one of your three sons, where do you see it? If you picked one, either how the school represents one of those four core values, and more importantly, in your son's life, like where do you see your sons represent one of those four core values of respect, responsibility, integrity, and brotherhood?
Well, I'm going to take two. I think respect and responsibility, because again, when they're at home with things that just are going on in the household, maybe you might have to say, can you help with this? Can you help? You might have to remind, but when they're at school, there's no reminding. They have to do it. I mean, they have to manage their own time. And then just respect, respecting people's space, that they're not the only ones, that they're living with other people. So it's a school family. It's no longer your nuclear family. So you see the respect and the responsibility, I think, grow just from being away from the nurturing environment at home. So I picked 2. I cheated.
Thank you. Mr. Amaya, you can pick any one, 2,
Yeah.
3 you want.
Yeah. So I'm going to say initially stands out is respect, right? Respect for the educational process, respect for the journey, and their boys. So of course, there's things I'm always looking at and nitpicking. The one I just thought about this today. So one area that I know that I'd love to see them work on, and them meaning the boys, is the integrity, right? Because I think if you have your personal integrity intact, everything else falls into place. Everything else falls into place. So like even my vision for the school is, man, this is an opportunity for young men to really come to a place and learn and drill and train personal integrity, ethics, respect, responsibility. I mean, when I think about it, why did we have so much progress in the, let's say, late 1800s, coming into the 1900s, where a lot of African Americans ended up being doctors, right? It's because there was a need, and they said, look, we're going to train in this area. And then in the 50s to the 70s, that progress turned into a bunch of lawyers, right? They said there's a need for civil action. So it was a group effort, a community effort to say, this is the area we're going to train in, and it produced that. Well, CFS to me has that opportunity for the young men to say, you know what, we're going to train in respect, responsibility, integrity, and what was the other one?
Brotherhood.
Brotherhood, yes, and brotherhood, right? So imagine that. Like, imagine these young men over the next 5 years, what they grow into with those 4 core values. Like, that's the possibility I see, and that's why, you know, both boys are at CFS.
I want to thank both of you, Ms. Malo, Mr. Almighty, for sharing your experiences, but more importantly, sharing your boys with us. You know, my short time here, knowing all 3, they do model all 4 of those core values. And I'm proud to serve them and work with you also. I appreciate your time and energy that you have given to the CFS community. I am now going to hand it over to our Director of Choir, Mr. Gary Gress.
Thanks, Chet. Appreciate that very much. Hi, my name is Gary Gress, and I've been the choir director here at Church Farm School for many, many years. And there are a lot of great things that actually go on in all the arts, not just choir or band, but the arts in general. And hopefully you'll be more interested to join us this coming Wednesday for an evening that focuses specifically on those things. But I do want to talk a little bit about choir as it plays an active role in the community at Church Farm School. The boys sing on campus pretty regularly. They sing in chapel for particularly special events. And they also do concerts within the chapel, but we also go off campus and sing in the local community for retirement communities. We sing with other schools in the area. We've sung several times, singing the national anthem at the Phillies game, and we've been at National Cathedral in DC several times as well. But we've also gone a little bit further abroad and have done a tour to Germany. We've actually sung in South Africa as well. We had a trip planned a year ago for Israel that was postponed. We're having to reshape that for this coming year, but it's a very active group on campus. I think one of the great things about Church Farm School is that it allows boys to try something new that they never figured they'd be able to do, and then become very successful at it. And I think this really applies for choir as well. So we have a group of about 25, 30 boys who are actually in the choir on an annual basis. And there are students that come, some who have experience, they've sung in boys' choirs before or in church choirs before. And we have some guys that will come and they've never sung before. And I ask them to just give it a try. And we figure out between us if this would be a good fit for them. And what happens is they become part of that group. The older, more experienced boys help them out. And through that process of building relationships, there's a very strong bond that is built. And I have a great record where the kids who start out in 9th grade, most of them almost all of them actually will participate their 4-year as well at Church Farm School. But it just doesn't end there. I have graduates who, many of them will go on to sing in college choirs. And I even have had several, in fact, 2 of them right now who are at college and who are majoring in music as well. So I hope you'll be interested in learning more about the group, but I think instead of my talking about what the choir is, it's probably best that you actually hear what they do at their very best. So I'll hand that over to our performance.
Hello again, everyone. We are always inspired by hearing our choir perform, and they are a great example of what our students can do. Again, my name is Chris Thiele. I'm the assistant head of school and the director of academics. And I want to offer you a little more of a glimpse into our academic program, following up with that great presentation from our choir, with a little bit more from our students. It's one thing to hear from the adults in the community, but it's another thing entirely to hear from students. And so we're going to give you a chance to hear from more of our students directly and live. We're grateful to them. We're still on break. And so these 2 guys have gotten up on a Saturday morning before classes have even begun for the second semester to join us this morning. We're grateful to them for that. But what you're seeing here is a little bit more about our academic program. In humanities, in modern languages, and in STEAM, you'll notice that we blend our disciplines together because we recognize that the coherence and the cohesion of the program is important. These are some of the things that I think describe well the essence of our academic program. And down at the bottom of the list that you see on your screen, we say that students illustrate what they know and they demonstrate what they can do. And I want to give you an opportunity to hear from a couple of our guys who can do just that. The first up is Jason Abreu. Jason is a senior from New York, and he is going to talk a little bit about the work that he's done with his peers in a senior level elective in humanities, in literature, film, and society this past semester. So, Jason, a couple of questions for you as you introduce your work and the things that you do in classes, not just in lit, film, and society, but in all classes. Tell us a little bit about the challenge of research, about learning to study a topic, to understand intently an area of focus, and how that onus is put on you as students, but with the support of your teachers and with the collaboration of peers.
Hi, Mr. Seeley. So I think a lot of the work that we get at Church Farm is like meaningful, and a lot of it is collaborative. And so, for example, like this specific project that I did with Lit Film and Society, it was a chance to collaborate with not only my peers but also faculty on, I guess, like a community goal, which was like it was centered around policing and Black Lives Matter, and like how, I guess, we would want to reform the system in our own way. And so that project in itself, like other projects, was research driven. We were like brainstorming ideas like among us, and we also had a faculty with us to help us. And we were also just doing research. And then like at the end, like we started, I guess, organizing our thoughts and then putting it on a presentation. And then that's what we ended up doing. But I think, yeah, a lot of the classes at Church Farm, like you have a lot of support from your teachers because, again, like small class sizes. I think that at Church Farm, like I succeeded at Church Farm because of the small class sizes and because like all of the class like environments are really intimate, and like the teachers really care for you and they like really want you to succeed. So.
Excellent. And tell us a little bit more about the project that you chose for your Lit Film and Society class. How did you come up with focusing on the movement to defund or to refund and redistribute fundings for police?
So I guess it was born out of like what happened in the summer after the death of George Floyd. And so it was really just, I guess, a way for us to like combat current issues and like, I guess, grasp a better understanding of it and like what like we can do with our part in our own communities, and like being, I guess, like a citizen in like our communities, like local and I guess at school. It was a definitely good opportunity to see, I guess, like the goods and the bads of the policing system and like what we can do for reform. And yeah, that's basically what I have.
No, that's great. I think that gives us some great insight into your process, into why you and your group chose this particular topic among the many things that you might have focused on. But as I said before, what we want to do is to give students an opportunity to apply what they know in the classroom to real world context, and what better way than to work on solutions to a problem that exists in our current society. Do you want to show folks a little bit of your project?
Yeah, I'll show you right now. So like this is just like a quick, like I'll show you guys quickly like what we did kind of. And so yeah, we called it the police pandemic, and I guess we first highlighted the problem. So like police had too many responsibilities, militarized, and there's one too many bad cops. And then these are like our proposed solutions. And so we kind of brainstormed these like amongst ourselves and also amongst like I guess faculty. I think Mr. Blair was actually in our team when it came to like brainstorming the solutions to, I guess, the issue with policing in the US. And so we just kind of, after we kind of, I guess, brainstormed, we kind of went in our own different ways, and we just kind of like did our own research. I think we ever cited, yeah, we sorted our sources, and everybody just kind of went in their own way, if that makes sense. But if anybody had any help, like we would always like help them if we could, any way we could. And also like the teacher's always there too, if we ever need help and if we ever have any clarifying questions. And they just want us, like to be as transparent as they can. And like obviously like they're there for us to succeed. And it was just a really good opportunity to collaborate with your peers. And also we ended up showing this like to our community on, I think it was one of the community days that we had. Yeah, it was just a good opportunity to showcase this to the community.
Great. That's a great thing. Not only were you able to learn from one another within your group and the class, but obviously different groups within your class focused on different topics. And so you have the responsibility of teaching your peers. Can you talk a little bit about the ways in which, not just in this class, but in other classes, you take on that responsibility of not just being a student, but also being a teacher of other students and, in fact, of your teachers who learn from you as well?
As soon as you said that, I thought of Miss Hughes. Miss Hughes is our the head of the Spanish department. She taught me in honor Spanish 3, and she taught me in Spanish 2 as well, I'm pretty sure. In her class, at the like one of the final projects is always kind of like a 10-minute presentation, I guess, and it's kind of you teaching the class like about an important subject, I guess, like in Latino America, and how I guess you can like fix it or like combat it. And so I think, yeah, for honor Spanish 3, because we were online, so it was kind of hard to like I guess translate that, you know, what we had going on in person online, and so it's understandable. And I think that teacher did a good job of like I guess translating courses, and it was kind of rough at first, but like I think we kind of got the hang of it a little bit. But yeah, Miss Hughes' like final project was kind of a good way to, it was really like it was a good opportunity to be creative. You obviously have to critically think, because we were, I guess, brainstorming solutions to these problems like amongst ourselves, but like also Miss Hughes, and Miss Hughes was always there like at every step to like help us and like guide us. You know, if we ever needed like help finding sources, because like you have to find sources in Spanish, she was always there, and she was always just like a helping hand. And again, she was really like, she wanted us to succeed, and she wanted us, you know, to like I guess like grasp a better understanding of it. Like we didn't have to like obviously be like native speakers, or like we didn't have to like know it all, but it's like as long as that like we have a better understanding about like our place in the world and like the world around us, then like she did her job. And um for example, like my final project in honor Spanish 3 was about how in Colombia they have like they're facing like a corruption, they're facing poverty and stuff like that. And like it was cool to see like I guess initiatives taken in their own country, like apps that connect you with like restaurants that offer food at lower prices, and like just stuff like that. And it's really interesting to see like the global community as like being a global citizen, and like advocacy and all of that.
Well, Jason, I think it's clear that not only did Ms. Hughes do her job, but I know that you and your peers did as well. That's great. Thanks for sharing your experience with us. I'm going to turn to Olamide now. Olamide Balogun is a junior from New Jersey, and he too is up this morning to share a little bit of his experience. And Olamide is actually going to go back to a project that he did in 9th grade in our engineering and design class, in our technology engineering and design class, which is the standard class for 9th graders. It's called Engineering Essentials now. But Olamide, tell us a little bit about the project that you did and the work that you did, not just to present a finished product, but through iteration, through time and again, going after the solution to the problems that you were encountering through the assignment, and also the ways in which you sort of improved your project along with your peers.
Okay, so we had a project where we had to make a 3D model of a campus building. We chose Wilkins Building, one of the main academic buildings at Church Farm School. We had to fly a drone around Wilkins to take pictures of it, and then we would take those pictures, make a 3D model out of them, and then 3D print it. That was like the basic idea of it. But what we learned beforehand, in order to know about the errors that could happen during that process, we had to learn about satellites, because with satellites, satellites kind of dictate like where our drone flight pattern was going. We had to like map out a pattern beforehand for the drone to fly, and satellites would affect that. So in the unit previous to the campus map project, we learned about satellites. And then once we found some of the errors in the process of making 3D model, we understood why those errors occurred. It's because the satellites have a certain window which you can take pictures in. And if the window like kind of reset, the location would be off. And if I could show you a picture of one of the bad context captures, okay, thank you. here's an example of a bad context capture. And this is all really because of all the satellite errors. We didn't really want that. Our goal was to have something look more like this. We wanted it to look something like that, but with due to the satellite window, some of them it would end like this. And we had this happen a couple times, so we would have to repeat. And our teacher actually told us that we needed a backup plan, so he taught us how to 3D print. And if I could, it's right here. We had to use Tinkercad in order to like make just a base model of the building, and here it is. That was my job actually. And we also like measured like the dimensions of the building on a little map, and we got like scaled down dimensions of it, and we had to do it on Tinkercad, make sure that it was as like Tinkercad has like measurements on it, so you're able to make a scaled model. But we had to like the process took a long time. It wasn't something that we could do in one go. It takes a long time, and that's like kind of what engineering is. It's a lot of repetition, trial and error, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work. And ultimately, we were able to get it done.
Excellent. So, well, obviously there are many steps to get to the process of being able to create this 3D model, to 3D print a model of a building. You had to learn a little bit of coding, right? To get your drone to fly. You didn't just sort of manually operate your drone, but you needed to code a little bit. You need to know about satellites and how they work. You needed to understand how to use Tinkercad. And I'm probably simplifying. There are many more steps along the way. But it sounds like a pretty complex project, but one that you were able to do as a ninth grader. This is the sort of thing that really does represent the great works that students can do. And so the class was able to produce a sort of a 3D model of a portion of campus, right? To each group was able to generate different 3D buildings to scale to replicate the campus. So tell us more about the challenges that you went through. Do you see yourself as a science student primarily? Was this something that was new for you? Was this something that you said, you know, this is right in my wheelhouse, and this is exactly what I came to Church Farm School to be able to do?
Yeah. Well, I think like when I grow up, I'm gonna go towards like more of like a STEM based thing. So I was kind of excited to take the class. But like this process specifically, it was a little bit more challenge. I say challenging. I say because we had to do like there are so many times where we had to redo a step or like try something else. Like we had to fly the drone like there are like 5 different classes where we had to fly the drone just to get like better pictures, because it was a whole like group like class project. Like each person had a step. So if the first step messed up, then all the steps following that, the first step would have to like do their process all over again. So first step was the drone flying. If the drone didn't take good pictures, the second step, which is the context capture step for a group, they would have to like retake all those photos, make a different 3D model. And then the group after that, which was the mesh mixer, they would have to mix different pictures again. So if one part was not correct, then all the other parts could not like work. So it's kind of like a machine itself. Like there's a cog in the machine and it doesn't really work.
But even in those failures that were part of the process, you learned a lot along the way. I think that's one of the things that we try to teach, is that even though there may not be a linear path from project assignment to completion, but there's a lot to learn about the failures along the way in order to improve. And as we said at the start, and as Olamide was saying, you know, this was about iterative design, that with each version, students got better and better at what they were doing. Olamide, thank you. We have, I believe, one more presentation from a student. Richie Cotter is a student who's a senior this year, and this is a recording of Richie talking about a project in his music technology class, where they were supposed to create a composition, an original composition. And Richie used a children's book, many of us know it well, Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, and he used that text to create an original composition. We'll hear from Richie. We're going to turn to Richie's passion for the arts, to develop your skills and your knowledge base in other areas across the curriculum. And your music tech class your music technology class is one way in which you've been able to bring your passions and your newfound skills together. Tell us how you found your way to music technology and what this course sort of means to you as you enter your third year of school.
So I think when I found music technology, it was music, working with music, like editing and stuff is something that I've always been a little bit interested in, like just working on it on the side. And so when I saw that I could take music technology, I was kind of excited about that because I would be able to learn more about the process of making music and how to make it and everything like that. So that's been a really great thing. Like I was really excited to take this class, and I have learned a lot in it so far from since the beginning of the year.
And what's the focus of the music tech class? What's the purpose? What do you all do? And what are you able to produce?
So yeah, we pretty much. Do you want me to share my slides?
Yes,
here?
that'd be great.
All right, give me 1 second. Yeah, so music tech at CFS. So pretty much the main things of it are we use Soundtrap, which is how we make our music. We learn a lot about music theory, which is all the different ways or forms of music and how it's put together. And then we create a bunch of projects. So this is kind of what Soundtrap looks like. So we get to play our own instruments on it from our keyboard, and we can create loops and all sorts of different stuff. It's a lot of fun to be able to do that and have like the ability to do so much just from our computers. Music theory is some of the biggest things we learned about were scales, which is like a sequential pattern of notes in like pitch order. And then we learned about music form, which is the flow of like verses and choruses in a song, and what motif is, which is like a repeating scale or repeating set of notes throughout a song. And those are things that we've had to include in our compositions, which are the songs that we create. And so some of the compositions that we've done so far this year were beat making, where we had to create an entire beat from scratch with just playing the instruments. Impressionism composition, which was just telling a story with music. We did a storybook composition where we used children's book to create all the lyrics for our song. And then we did sampling where we used another audio clip just to create our song, and we did stuff like that. So I'm going to share my storybook project. I used the book Chicka Chicka Boom Boom by John Archibald, and I got one of my best friends, Alyssa Maxwell, to sing the song for me. And then I created everything on the song like from scratch. So I'll just play a little clip of it here.
Thank you all, rest in peace. There's more WXYZ. The alphabet's up. Oh no. Chicka chicka boom 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 boom. Chicka chicka boom boom. There was not enough room. Boom 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 boom. Skit skat scooter gat flip flop free. Everybody's running to the coconut tree.
So that's just like a little bit of the stuff that we've done in this class.
Excellent. Thank you all for sharing your work with everyone. So that gives a little bit of a view, a glimpse into the work that students do through the academic program. And I'm happy to have been able to share that with you, and grateful to our students. We're going to turn to who joined us this morning, and for Richie, who was part of our last open house. We're going to turn to Mr. Blair, who's the Director of Student Life, turn back to Mr. Blair, and he's going to be joined by some other colleagues who are going to talk about student life at CFS. And we're happy to hear from Mr. Blair, Mr. Servin, Ms. Young, Mr. Warfel, and Mr. Augusto.
Thank you, Mr. Sealy. I'm back. Again, Mr. Blair, Director of Student Life, and we have members of our Student Life team. I'm going to pass it over to our Director of Res Life and our 9th grade chair, Brian Servin, and Mr. Bob Warfel. You'll hear things about student life, res life, clubs, activities, community service, and some diversity, equity, inclusivity work. So I hope you enjoy it. And again, If you have any questions, email, call, ask, we'll answer. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on our open house. My name is Brian Serban. I'm the Director of Residential Life at CFS. I've been at school for 14 years. It's gone by in a flash, but I'm just going to tell a little bit about our Residential Life program. So I will share my screen, pull up a few slides. So our Residential Life program, you can see our south side of campus here. We have 10 dormitories that we call cottages of 16 to 20 students in each cottage. Each cottage has 2 live-in faculty that live there full-time and provide support for the students. We consider these cottages our family units. Just a little bit about the program, a few logistics. So the boys are obviously in school all day, have sports in the afternoon, and then in the evenings, we have a weeknight study hall for them to get their work done, which is 2 hours each night, Sunday through Thursday. A big part of our program is making sure that boys are taking care of their spaces. So we do ask them to do our cottage chores 3 nights a week, just helping to clean up around the dorms. We expect them to keep their rooms clean, their beds made, their laundry done, so they have room cleanliness checks each night. And then on the weekends, they work really hard during the week. It's a really rigorous schedule going to school all day, athletics, and then study hall in the evenings. So the weekends are a little bit more relaxed, and we try and provide a lot of different activities for them to do on these weekends. Things like community service, socials with other schools, on and off campus activities, and our chapel program as well. So really, what is residential life? Really, it's about educating the whole child. We're talking about everything outside of the academic and athletic programs, which is a big program, right? And just some of the things we try and focus on at CFS to round out your sons to be better people when they leave school. Really, we focus on having them live in community, learning how to live with others from around the world, having a roommate, working through conflict. We want to make sure that we're providing a home away from home for them. We have 18 dorm faculty who work very hard in creating a welcoming, safe, healthy, and happy space for them to live that they want to be. One of the biggest things is that we want to make sure that they're learning how to be self-sufficient, right? You're sending your sons to boarding school. We want to make sure that they're ready for college, right? That they're able to do their own laundry, take care of themselves, learn how to be independent and manage their time, right? We focus on character developments through our social and emotional learning program. We provide leadership opportunities for all of our students, whether it's leading clubs, being a prefect in our cottages and help the cottage faculty out in that, or being in our student government. A big part of our program that Mr. Mike Augusta will talk about in a little bit is our community service program and how students benefit from serving others, both in our community and outside into the larger community. Getting the boys outside, learning different things about outdoor education is important as well, and living into our core values of respect, responsibility, integrity, and brotherhood. We want to make sure that we're focused on those things, so when they leave Church Farm, they're ready to be better informed citizens of the world. And really, the ultimate goal for us is we're trying to develop boys into young men. And we want to make sure that we are partnering with you in your son's development, right? It's a big deal to send your son away to boarding school. So we want to make sure that you know that we see it as a serious undertaking and we're there to support him. One of the best things we do at Church Farm is provide a support network for your son of numerous adults that are there to support them through everything that they're going through. Every student has one academic advisor that kind of serves as their central point person for their communication home, everything, their grades, all that stuff. Everybody has 2 cottage parents that live there full-time in their dormitories, 6 or 7 teachers that are there to support them through their academic endeavors, 3 or more athletic coaches that are helping develop their athletic skills, all the administration, support staff, and 170 peers who are there to support them as well. So the support network here from a small school setting. They're going to receive a ton of support while they're here. And most research out there shows that boys learn best when they have a strong relationship with their teachers. So residential education, it really emphasizes relational teaching as something that we do really well. Now I'm going to turn it over to one of our cottage parents, our head of house at Catherwood Cottage, Mr. Bob Warfel. Not only is he a head of house in Catherwood Cottage, but he also teaches, coaches, is our 9th grade level advisor. He is a true Renaissance man. So I'll turn it over to him. You can get a closer look into one of our dormitories.
Thank you, Mr. Serbin. I appreciate all the flattery. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here with you. As Brian said, one of the hallmarks of being an adult in a boarding school is that you wear many hats. And I am no different. I have worn many hats over my 7 years at Church Farm School. But in those 7 years, the most important hat that I wear is that of a cottage parent. And for the last 6 of my 7 years, I have been the head of house of Catherwood Cottage, which is one of our 3 freshman dormitories. And that has been a real privilege to each year welcome in brand new students onto campus who are excited but also scared, who are energized but also wary of what is to come. And to be able to play a role in helping them acclimate to the school and to truly become part of the brotherhood that is Church Farm School. As Mr. Servant said, we have 10 cottage dormitories. Each of them hold anywhere from 15 to 19 students. And every cottage has 2 adults who live there full time. There are 2 adult apartments in each cottage. And between the 2 of us, we cover about 90% of the time that the cottage is occupied. And as I said earlier, we take that as a sacred responsibility. So, Brian, if you could advance the slide. All of our cottages are pretty similar. We have 8 cottages that were built around the same time, and then our 2 upper class cottages, which were built about 20 years later. But they're all very similar in size and layout. You enter into a small foyer. There are 2 floors of boys' rooms. The downstairs generally has 4 rooms and the upstairs has 6 for a total of 10 rooms. Almost all of the boys have a roommate. And freshmen do not, by virtue of the fact that they are freshmen and they're coming in to a new environment, they don't really have a choice in who they get as their roommate. And it is always amazing to me that every year we randomly place boys from all over the country together into rooms as roommates, and literally 98% of the time, those relationships blossom and foster and create lifelong friendships. Every once in a while, we will have a situation where 2 roommates do not get along, but it really is very rare. The big space in the cottage is what we call our common room or our TV room, depending on which house you live in, which is the central gathering place for all of the students. It's where they come to relax, to watch television, to read, to hang out, to play board games, for community meetings, and also for study hall for many of the students. We have study hall 2 hours a night, and that is structured and supervised. And then the rest of the time, whenever they're working on work or homework, they're free to use any of the spaces in the cottage or on school side to accomplish that. these are pictures from my actual cottage that I've taken on my own phone over the years. And just an example of the many things that we do. The upper left-hand corner was a Super Bowl party where we were watching Super Bowl. We have contests, monthly contests, where students are in teams for the whole year and they compete against each other in contests like putting 200-piece puzzles together or playing different games. And so the emphasis is to make this a home away from home, make sure that people feel loved and cared for, and to make sure that their experience of their freshman year and every year, depending on what dorm they live in, is truly fulfilling. I also already mentioned that they share a room. This is two typical rooms of what typical boys' rooms would look like. They are not big, but they're very cozy. There's everything that they need is in there. And the boys, as you can see, make the spaces their own. So they truly become their homes away from home. And I think that's it for me, but I appreciate your time, and I look forward to welcoming your sons in September to what hopefully will be a much more normal year of residential life at Church Farm School.
Good morning. My name is Robbie Young, and I will be talking to you briefly about clubs and activities at Church Farm School. I work closely with Mrs. Garcia, who's the Student Activities Coordinator and Assistant to the Departments of Student Life and Athletics. And I have been at Church Farm School for 8 years. I am the grade level chair for the 10th grade, and I'm also a Spanish teacher here at Church Farm School. And I help and coordinate clubs with Mrs. Garcia. What we appreciate about our clubs is an opportunity for students and adults to come together on a variety of topics to explore and participate in various activities. And for clubs, there are times throughout the day where students can come together, like I said, with a faculty advisor to participate in either some type of enrichment or learning activity based on their club's mission. We love our clubs here at CFS and our other activities that we provide because they not only offer some internal networking opportunities, but also external networking opportunities. Most of our clubs meet, if not weekly, they meet daily and sometimes bi-weekly or semi-monthly. They meet on the weekends. And we are fortunate to have a lot of our clubs participate in local and national competitions. Right now, we have our clubs organized into the following buckets, if you will: music and fine arts. We have cultural competency clubs, academic enrichment, volunteer and community work, and also competitive clubs. This is a list of our current clubs. They have met virtually during the first semester, and as we transition to the second semester, some will continue to meet virtually and some will meet in person, safety provided. But as we prepare for the 21-22 school year, we always welcome opportunities for students to either join one of the existing clubs or make a proposal for a new club. And there are many clubs that come up and are facilitated by students, they're run by students, organized by students, and that's really a great opportunity for students to not only be leaders, but to be actively participate in something that they are passionate about. We also provide a lot of opportunities on the weekends with Mrs. Garcia to organize weekend events that are connected to trips, whether they be trips to museums or restaurant trips, like I said, local or national competitions, but just allowing students to have that outreach and that connection to things and people outside of Church Farm School to continue to explore their passions. So again, there are a lot of clubs that we offer. There are a lot of opportunities for students to explore, and we really are excited about having this additional outlet for our students. I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Augusto, who's going to talk to you about community service.
There it is. Thank you, Robbie. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. So as Dr. Young, congratulations, Dr. Young.
Thank you.
Mentioned I would be, and Mr. Servin, I'd do a quick overview of community service. What I can say is it'll be far briefer than it is, it's an extensive program, but it's going to be a brief overview. So just to get going. Oops, sorry about that. So here we go. So just very quickly, the community service statement is an important one because CFS recognizes that community service is an integral part of the program for the boys to learn and grow. But it's a vital component of curriculum at CFS. It's intended to involve students in the process of helping others and contributing meaningfully to the greater community, which is very much in line with our 4 pillars. Just really quickly, where do we serve? The beautiful part is where we're located. So where do we begin? Right in our backyard, whether it's the Griffin Closet, which is a free closet for students to shop in for items they might need. So almost like an on-campus Goodwill, to shoveling snow, to cleaning the rooms, to working on compost in the garden. Our primary focus is actually our own backyard. We're in Chester County, Pennsylvania. And so there are tons of options, as you'll see in a second. So I would say that's our bread and butter. But we also do, which is about a half-hour drive, maybe a little over a half-hour drive, depending where you're going. We do some work in Philadelphia as well. And then ways we serve, you'll quickly see, this is just a partial list of opportunities that boys have. But also, obviously, COVID-19 has provided an extra challenge. And so this year, Champions Adjust, it's looking more for opportunities where maybe our students can connect online with younger students for tutoring, working with Covenant House to still have a fundraiser where you have a sleep out, or maybe we can have it on campus as a form of fundraising. So that's going on, but there's no shortage of options in the area for sure. And why do we serve? I mean, a lot of what you've heard. And what it all comes together is CFS is about changing lives and changing the lives of young men, and community service changes lives as well when it's done well and run well, when the service is sustainable, and also when it has some form of relational aspect to it. So we want our students forming bonds with other individuals in the community, because at the end of the day, the odds are our students will learn more about themselves than they will help others. And that's a well-run community service program. So again, as Chet said, always can reach out and hear more details, but that's an overview. Thanks for your time.
All right, everyone, I am back. I am going to share my screen. Let's be hopeful technology works. All right, I'm going to briefly talk about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I want to start with this one quote here. Let me start the slideshow. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced. That's what James Baldwin, and that's what we feel about our work with diversity, equity, and inclusion as we go down this journey. Is we need to face the issues that have been in our past and also current, and also prepare for what's going to happen in the future. We have honest discussions about many different topics, whether it's race, whether it's the LGBT community, gender issues, the right to protest, the right to have the chance to dream and do everything you can to pursue those dreams. And right now, everyone doesn't have that. You heard from our students and their projects. So we talk about DEI in the classroom, out of classrooms, as a whole community, with students, with adults. And these are some of the things you see that we do. Power through unity is really, really important. Speaking up, not being silent. And when you're being silent, you're letting the evil hatred continue. A little bit about our work. We are a member of the Multicultural Resource Center at AVIS, which is an Association of Delaware Valley Independent Schools. We sit, our school, myself represent the school, sit on the board where we have different programmings for our schools, students and adults, trainings, et cetera. One of those trainings was in August, cultural competency training, which all of our adults, faculty, colleagues participated in. We have student clubs, we have we have a diversity club, we call it an M club. We have a club that talks about LGBTQ issues. We do conversation school meetings in chapel, grade level meetings. Just yesterday and Thursday, our faculty staff participated in a global citizenship course training so we can talk about bias, learn about our biases and different cultural perspectives and how to communicate and address certain issues. Our student and staff have gone to the People of Color Conference, Student Diversity Leadership Conference. There's local conferences that our students and some adults will be participating in later on this month. So this is our work. This is our life journey, individually, but also as a collective group that we're jumping in. We're having honest discussions, and we're learning from one another and from current events. We're also a faith-based school, and this is what from the King James Version as important a verse to me. So that there should be no division in the body, but that its parts should have equal concern for each other. If one part suffers, every part suffers with it. If one part is honored, every part rejoices with it. Now you are the body of Christ, and each one of you is a part of it. That speaks to me that we're all in this fight together. If my brother or sister is hurting, I'm hurting. If my brother or sister is happy, joyful, so am I. I'm going to now introduce a video from one of our students, a senior. His name is Josiah. And it was in a creative writing class. Students were asked to explore different styles and genres. For this particular assignment, students were asked to craft a sonnet. The choices were either an Italian, Spenserian, or Shakespearean sonnet. And Josiah chose the Shakespearean form and created this powerful poem, which he shared with the whole school in one of our meetings. So I hope you enjoy it.
America, built on the backs of black, yet hating black lives, black success, black skin. Being black in America, real whack. Can't have no kids cause there's no way they win. Red and blue lights, you need to focus up, cause you black. Cops take your life in a blink. Doing nothing in life, lean in the cup, not realizing your kind almost extinct. Black people were brought here without a choice. Laws were made to degrade and tear down. It seems like we never have a voice. Taylor's killers got nothing but a frown. Some things don't change, others are forever. Black lives still don't matter. Will they ever?
We thank Josiah for that poem. I hope you really heard and listened to it. It's really powerful. I'm going to now pass it on to Greg Thompson, our Director of Athletics.
All All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Greg Thompson. I'm the athletic director here at Church Farm School. It's my pleasure to be with you today to do two things. One is to tell you a little bit about our athletic program, introduce you to who we are and what we do in the afternoons here at school, and then introduce you to a session on Monday evening with our coaches and some athletes to tell you some more. So the athletic program at Church Farm School is a big part of what we do as an educational institution. We really believe in the value of, working with our young men as part of teams, helping them understand what it means to go through the ups and downs of an athletic season with a group of, in this case, their brothers and some coaches to set goals for a season, to have successes and learn how to repeat those, to fail and learn how to build back and build into something stronger. And we do this in a variety of forms. So if you are a high-level athlete that aspires to compete at the varsity level in high school, perhaps even beyond high school, and receive really high-level instruction and competition, we have that for you. If you've never participated in athletics and you'd like to try something, to have an opportunity to play and learn a new sport or activity, and learn how to meet with success in that, we have that. We have all kinds of options for you to try. And all of our young men either learn to excel in things that they've become passionate about already, or find new passions and get to explore those in a number of meaningful ways. We focus all of our options on team building efforts and the importance of being part of a team. We work hard to develop skills, and we have an appreciation for sportsmanship and lifelong fitness. All of our boys participate in an athletic or afternoon program during all three of our seasons, fall, winter, and spring. They do that in the afternoon each day once the academic day is concluded and prior to dinner and study hall during the week. We encourage a multi-sport focus. We want our young men to experience a variety of different activities, some athletic, some non-athletic, because they all have different lessons. They all have different attributes that are built and grown through the participation, through the learning of those activities. Put up on the screen a slate of all of our offerings so you can really see the variety that we have within our afternoon and athletic program. Despite being a very small, intimate private school, we really have the athletic program of a much, much larger institution. We have 3 soccer teams that compete in the fall from the varsity team, which competes for district championships, down to a JVB team, which is young men who are really learning how to play the sport for the first time. And you'll see that across several of our offerings. In addition, in the fall, we have a cross-country program, 3 golf teams, a theater program, and then a number of club options. So if young men are looking to spend a season doing something non-athletic, or to spend their season building their athletic skills for another sport that they want to more specialize in, they can do that. So we offer strength, we offer team sports, which is like after school physical education, a work placement at a local aerospace engineering firm, as well as a community service club that performs community service on campus and off campus when we're able to. In the winter, we have 4 basketball teams, varsity, JV, JVB, and 9th grade. We have a large wrestling team, usually over 40 wrestlers that participate, most of whom learn that sport when they get to school. Winter track, 2 bowling teams, a robotics club, which practices and learns on campus and then goes off and competes, as well as some clubs, strength, fitness, and a STEAM club, which is works along with our STEM department. And in the spring, we have 4 sports. We have baseball, tennis, track and field, and lacrosse, as well as, again, some club options like strength and community service. So to wrap up here, happy to field any questions that you may have in the chat. As we come to the end here, I'd also encourage you to follow along with CFS Athletics on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. And you can go back through and see some of our highlights from when we've been on campus and competing. So I'm happy to have you join us on social media. I would also love to have you come to our athletics session. You'll hear more in a little bit about some separate programs that we have this coming week, sort of highlighting some aspects of school life. And on Monday night at 7 o'clock, we will have some more coaches and some athletes on hand to give you a much more in-depth look into our athletics and afternoon program. And you'll be able to converse with us and ask questions and learn much more in detail about our athletics and afternoon program. And then we'll have some more offerings later in the week that you can join for other school programming as well. So I will pass it back to Ms. Lisa Smoots, who is our Director of Admission, who will tell you a little bit more about those programs and wrap up our session here this morning. So thank you very much.
Sorry, I was muted. I apologize. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lisa Smoots, and I am the admission director here at Church Farm School. And I'd like to thank each and every one of you for attending our virtual open house this afternoon. Although we wish you were able to visit our campus and meet our community, I hope that this morning you are able to get a sense of all the things that set Church Farm School apart. We're excited to continue the admission journey with you, and I encourage you to check the status of your application on the portal to ensure that the checklist items are moving along just as you expect them to be. If you have not yet submitted your application, it's not too late, and I encourage you to move along on that. And if you have any questions, please call us. The phone number for the admission office is 610-363-5347. A lot of people this morning have mentioned that we have spotlight events coming up at the end of, or at the beginning of next week. They are Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m. On Monday, we'll have athletics. On Tuesday, we'll have STEAM. On Wednesday, we'll have the arts. And on Thursday, we'll have student life. So those are going to be set up as Zoom sessions, not as webinar. So you'll be able to interact live with all of the presenters. There'll be students, and hopefully we'll be able to answer any questions that you might have about those areas. Before we leave, I want to take the time to thank the entire CFS team who participated today, my colleagues, faculty, administrators, and the students and the parents. Just like we say about rearing a child, it takes a village. It takes a village to educate a child as well. And Church Farm School is a beautiful village. I do want to share with you guys a fun video that we put together that's going to highlight our campus. It's a video we created for the incoming freshmen and some of the students who were visiting our school early in the year. And it's an opportunity for you to get an idea of what the campus looks like between now and when you can visit. After this video, we'll be on here for a couple of minutes. If any of you have any questions, please type them into the chat and we'll answer them. Otherwise, you're free to log off and have a wonderful afternoon. Bye-bye.
Welcome to Church Farm School. My name is Miss Young. I'm the 10th grade level chair. This is our mascot, Griffey, and we're going to give you a quick tour around our beautiful campus. Enjoy.
you've enjoyed this tour courtesy of Griffey, and we look forward to seeing you on campus very soon.
turn the music down. One second, I'm going to answer this question. Great. Hello. So I see that Ms. Johnson submitted a question and she wanted me to talk a bit more about admissions, what we're looking for in applicants, interview tips, and acceptance rate. And so what I'll talk about with respect to what we're looking for in applicants, we are hoping to enroll wonderful young men of great character who are motivated to perform at their highest level. Students who want to try new things, who want to explore, who want to give back, who want to join a community and give to that community and give as much as they receive. We're looking for young men who are hoping to leave a community stronger for themselves and to leave the community stronger than it was before them. When we talk about test scores, we do ask the students to take the SSAT test. And we look at those test scores to kind of get a baseline of the student's performance. But more important than those test scores is going to be the teacher recommendations. We're looking to hear that these students participate in class, that they help their neighbors in class, that they submit their classwork on time, and that they're conscientious students. We also know that middle school students have slip-ups, And so if a teacher says you had a slip up, but you've recovered from it, that certainly would not hinder you joining Church Farm School community. We don't have a lot of learning support. We have learning support that helps you with your executive functioning. We have learning support that helps you if you're struggling in a class. Our teachers are available several hours a week to support you if you don't understand a topic or if you want to go a little deeper in a topic. But we don't have the ability to provide one-on-one support. And so if that's something that a family is looking for, please reach out to me directly and we can talk very specifically about your child's needs. Interview tips. I say be yourself. I had an interview yesterday with a young man and his mom came in the room because she thought he was talking to a friend because we were laughing so much. Just be yourself. If you're formal, if you're quiet, if you're outgoing, whatever you are, present that to us. We want to talk to you. We want to get to know you. I do ask that you spend a little bit of time on the website so that you know a little bit about Church Farm School so that we can answer the questions that you have. I want to make sure that when we're interviewing, we're using that time well. And the acceptance rate fluctuates. It depends on how many applications we have in a given year. So it's a number that I'm not really comfortable sharing because I just never know how many applications we receive. We do have 44 spaces for incoming freshmen. And this year we have 10 spaces available for rising sophomores because we chose to leave a cottage empty in case we needed a quarantine space for COVID. So there's opportunities for you students entering 9th and 10th grade, to apply for Church Farm School. And we often have a space available for 11th graders as well. So I hope this answers your questions. We look forward to your applications. Do not hesitate to call the admission office on Monday. We're always here. We're more than happy to speak with you. You don't need an appointment to make a phone call. We're here to answer your questions and guide you along the way. Are there any more questions? Don't think so. All right, guys, we're going to end this webinar. I appreciate your time. I hope you learned all that you wanted to know about Church Farm School. And please join us next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 7 p.m. And I will send out a reminder this weekend with the links to those events as well. Thank you and have a great day. Bye-bye.